This is part 2 of the determinants and the factors of that determine companionship, which eventually leads to marriage. The next factor which we need to look at is each member's position in the family. Let me elaborate on this one. Each sibling holds a certain position within the family. There is the sibling who takes the position of a firstborn, those ones who take other middle positions, and also the lastborn. These positions, when you look at them literally, they may not have so much meaning, but in fact, they play a crucial role as far as the relationship is concerned. A firstborn in a family is given a lot of attention because this is the first child the parents have had, and all the attention and love is directed to him or her. And it reaches a point where this firstborn feels he or she is entitled to that love, to that attention, so that even when a second sibling comes in, there is always a lot of conflict whereby part of that love is now shared with the new sibling and rivalry starts to develop. And the firstborn still wants to retain the original entitlement. Although slowly by slowly, as they grow up and the parents give them the right kind of training, they start accepting the new siblings and they slowly accept the element of sharing. But though that one comes gradually, that element of entitlement remains with the firstborn. The lastborn in a family has also the same problem, because the lastborn now starts behaving like the firstborn when he or she was all alone. The lastborn demands all the attention, all the love, not only from the parents, but also from the other siblings. So this is a person who needs a lot of nurturing so that he also becomes independent. If too much love is given to the lastborn, this may be a danger because this child may not be able to be independent in terms of making decisions or doing his or her own things. Now, I want you to see the impact the same have when they now get into a relationship. Now, this firstborn is getting married to another child who holds a different position in another family. Let's take it this way. The firstborn son marries a lastborn daughter of another family. What this means is that the son, who happens to be the firstborn, will be commanding, controlling, and will not give that freedom for the other partner, in this case the woman, to express herself, because he wants to carry forward the same entitlement from his family to the new union. For the daughter, again, requires excessive attention. But now that she has left the home of her parents, this extension is supposed to be carried out by the husband. So it becomes a problem because each of these two people hold certain traits that might end up bringing in conflicts, especially when it comes to decision making. The woman, who in this case we said if she happens to be the last born, will not have any room to make any decisions, and she won't mind making any decisions because after all everything was being done for her. So it means she just wait for the man to make the decisions, and the man will expect the wife to follow. So that in itself will create conflict, because sometimes there are times when either of these parties require the other to make certain decisions. But because you took those roles, then continue with them. So in this situation, the woman always expects the man to make decisions. And when the man tries to tell the woman to make decisions, he tells, you took the position, so go ahead. So you can see conflict will develop. Now, on the same note, if these are single children from their families, that is, or the only son or the only daughter, there is a problem. For example, being the only son in one family, with all the attention given to him, also there is a strong bond that develops between the son and the mother. If you go back to psychosocial stages of development, you will see this situation well covered, showing the bond of the mother and the son. And then there is also the bond of the daughter and the dad. So when you are taking away the son, the only son, the mama's boy, there will be a lot of struggle. So you can see the new daughter-in-law and the mother-in-law will always be in conflict because they will be competing, both of them consciously or unconsciously, for one man. The same case applies to the dad who happens to have the only daughter. The daughter whose father happens to be the first boyfriend. The father-in-law will not be very comfortable letting her daughter go just like that. So again, he will be controlling the daughter, and there will be a tug of war between the father-in-law and the son-in-law competing for the attention of the daughter. I'm not saying that these marriages do not work. No, I don't want to be misunderstood. All what I'm saying, before you solemnize the relationship, it is important to iron out some of these issues. Let him understand that I am the only daughter. Let her understand that I am the only son. And now that we are leaving our parents, our parents will very much be involved in our relationship in one way or the other because of the attachment that each of them had towards us. So as you sit down to discuss and come to an agreement, sometimes it is not easy. It is not easy, but people work it out, and then they are able to move along. The other factor which we would look at is the age difference of the partners. I hear people saying age is just a number. Yes, it is a number, but when it comes to marriage, it has a lot of meaning. When the age difference between the two parties is almost the same, or it is very, very small, there are bound to be some conflicts, because psychologically a woman matures faster than a man. So if you bring two people, a man and a woman, who are of the same age, it implies that the woman's mental capability and other aspects of mental development are more developed. So she is more mature than the man. And as a result, when they sit down to make decisions, you may find that the man is undermined because he is assumed sometimes his decisions are not mature. He is treated in a childish manner. So in this case, his decisions may not be taken seriously. I know some will disagree with me, but this is a reality. Research has been done, and that is a fact. Then, if the two have to at least give each other room in terms of opinion, it is good that there is a gap in terms of age difference. At least between 5 to 10 years difference is a good age, because now they will be thinking almost the same. So they will respect each other. The woman will respect the decisions of the man will also respect the decisions of the woman. But I'm not saying when two people may happen not to meet that requirement that they should not come together. All that I'm saying, they need to discuss this one early enough to come to a common understanding that we are coming together with this kind of a scenario and we are ready to work it out. The other one is single parenthood, abused, and those who have not been taken care of, those who have actually come from, I don't want to say low backgrounds, but maybe those who have been brought up in very difficult environmental conditions. The single parenthood shares some of the traits similar to the ones we have mentioned there earlier on, whereby if a mother is the one taking care of the sons, then the similar problem is likely to come up, although there will be discipline issue, because although we are not saying that a single parent may not be able to give all the necessary attention to the child, there is still some deficit that needs to be compensated in one way or the other. Like now, a single mother bringing up boys, she needs to expose the sons to a close relative who they are in good terms, like an uncle, so as to get that identity. The same case applies to the girls. She needs to expose them to the aunties for the role model and maybe the uncles, so that they feel as if they are complete. But those challenges also affect the relationship. The ones who had been abused, remember, they have developed some fear, some anxiety, some hatred, some kind of defense towards the abuser. For example, a lady who has been abused by a man, if she is getting into a relationship, when he sees this boyfriend, it will always remind her of the abuse he went through a similar gender. So you may find they might not be able to be very free, they may not even be able to consummate the marriage very well because of that fear. Though the relationship can work, there is need for intensive guidance and counseling so that you bring back the confidence the lady had, and you show her that regardless of that abuse, it is just that man. Otherwise, this is not the same like the one who abused you. So they need to undergo a lot of counseling to be prepared to get into a relationship. And the same case may apply to the sons. Yes, abuse is not only for the girls. The abuse is also in the boys. And it also depends on who abused them. If they are abused by women, there are chances that this son will have a low opinion of women. He may be in a relationship, but deep inside, he does not value the woman. So again, they also need to go through counseling so that their mind can be deconstructed so that they start seeing things differently. And also, those ones who have been brought up in very difficult environments, like in the streets, these are people who never got the right kind of attention, so there might be a challenge when they get into a relationship. Again, we do not say that the relationships will not work, but they need a lot of counseling, they need a lot of mentorship, so as to accept that their past should not affect their future and they are in a position to live a normal and productive life. Then the other point is religion come beliefs. There are certain religions which have got their own norms, values, beliefs, such that you may find a conflict may develop. Just like the cultural background, the religions also play a role in interfering with the companionship. If you come from one religion and you want to marry a partner from a different religion, sometimes there is conflict because they feel some consider their religion to be more superior than the other. So they feel if you move from our religion and get married to this other religion, it will be inferior. They'll also interfere with your beliefs, which we have taught you. So if you mix these two religions, sometimes conflict will come in terms of how you do things, how you relate, how you interact. So all these factors may contribute to conflict, they may strain the relationship, and it might not work. We have seen cases where a Christian is married to a Muslim and one religion wants one to convert to the other. And if you don't, then they say no. If you do not come to our religion, then we are not going to hand over our child, be it a son or a daughter. So these conflicts are there. So before you solemnize your relationship, it's good to sort out some of these issues. Instead of getting into a relationship, maybe you even consummate the marriage, you have offsprings, then later on you break up. Because there is nothing as painful as entering into a relationship with certain set goals only to drop them when the marriage fails. That is part 2 of my program. I'll come to the third episode shortly.